Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. How's it going today? So we are going to look at the week ahead. I did ask the lead team collective, which is made up of all of our spirit teams, everyone in this community, and for messages for the upcoming week. We did that a couple weeks ago and I thought I wanted to get back to that. And they gave me 5 messages. So that's pretty much what we're going to go over today. I did want to look at a little snippet from Faye, our astrologer. I'm finding that very interesting for me to keep revisiting the report for July as reminders. Okay, so this is a very short update for that. And then the lead team wanted me to pull a card from Earth Wisdom for this week. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I was just going through the headlines on Ground News and I thought, well, just see what's going on today. And the only thing I thought I got a little chuckle out of was here is, now I haven't gone into the sources yet. There's 46 sources. But the headline is Trump's pace of early travel largely mirrors Biden's, but with more sport events and golf. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. And, oh, that's cool. Volunteers flock to immigration courts to support migrants arrested in the hallways. There's love winning for sure. I love that. Now that's 53 sources. This many tiny bit written from the right. Okay. So volunteers flock to immigration courts to support migrants arrested in the hallways. That's beautiful. That's just beautiful. So then this is the last thing is ex-Epstein lawyer calls for release of additional Epstein materials. Now I keep thinking that, I think all along we kind of wondered if it was the election interference stuff that would take Trump down. Now I'm not quite so sure. I'm kind of thinking it's probably the Epstein stuff especially because Murdoch, is that his name? And he was from the Wall Street Journal. I know I kept saying the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal. The fact that he allowed that to happen, considering he's owns Fox, there's something going on. And that's not good for Trump. So something going on in the background that's saying maybe they're done with his crap. I don't know. Or it's just time for him to leave. Maybe he's outlived his usefulness to them. Who knows? But I'm kind of wondering, how the SGs have said that he's leaving soon for Saudi Arabia. That might just be why he does that. One, so that he's not persecuted for what he's done in terms of the trafficking situation. Entertainment purposes only and allegedly. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. There are a few political messages for the week as well as spiritual messages for the week, okay, from the team. So, okay, we'll just call them the team. All right, so just a little reminder, this was a paragraph in the astrology report, and it was what July 2025 asks of us. Okay, so there's 11 more days of July. Today is July 20th, 2025. Faye says, this is a month of choice. Rather than giving our energy to reacting against what we oppose, so rather than giving our energy to reacting against what we oppose, we're giving that energy to choosing what we stand for. I find that so fascinating. I don't know about you. You think about this for yourself. I have totally been in that energy. You could even hear me when we did the Epstein videos, which if you haven't seen those, there's actually 4 parts. They're quite interesting. I will post all 4 right around here. I'll post 1 at the end of this video, 1, 2 in this corner, 3, and 4. Okay. So you can, if you've missed one, you could pick it up. Okay. So I find that so interesting because I think at least 2 of them, I was like, you know what? We're no longer standing for this, the whole trafficking thing, you know? And that's really different than being in the energy of like, what a bunch of a-holes, and, you know, which is energy I've been in. So I just find that so interesting. Or even that thing I just read on Ground News about the volunteers showing up. It's like they're not just opposing, they're volunteering to support them. So it's what they're choosing to stand for. I really feel that energy. That is so amazing. That's why I like looking at this report throughout the month and not just at the beginning, because I like to see, am I actually in this energy? That one, how does that feel for you? I really feel that way. I feel for me that I am choosing what I stand for more than probably ever in my life, to be honest. At least that's how it feels right now. Than being opposed to something. I love that. In a patriarchal world that tries to divide, silence, and suppress, we answer by speaking from the heart. It's how we will build the community we want and nurture what really matters. This is how joy and kindness become revolutionary acts of love. When the system tells you to harden, shut down, or stay small, choosing joy is radical rebellion, which is really consistent with the messages they gave me for this week. Okay, so then the last line was, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is care deeply and love out loud. Isn't that sweet? I love that. Okay, so be sure to join the newsletter right here, because I will be, as I have been, sharing more in depth, like copying and pasting the report from Faye in the newsletter. So you're going to get more in depth there. And it's a free newsletter. So once a week for the most part, we've been sending something out. So I've been sending something out. Okay, so I actually do write those myself. So, okay, so messages. So if you're new here, I use a pendulum and get messages using, actually this is the pendulum chart and this is the pendulum. Okay, if you're wondering where to find this, it is in our small business directory by one of our community members. I will post the small business directory QR code right here, and everything's always in the description. Links are always in the description, but this one is under spiritual. I think it's under spiritual tools. So you'll have to look. There's an image of it in there. So I love it. It's wonderful. And the middle of it, and she actually designed this for me when we started talking about doing the Law of Challenge, when we were reading The Golden Future in the Spirit Circle. And she put in the name of Christ, are you of the purest and highest light? It's on there. So this is really a great thing for our community. So if you're looking for one, personally yours, it's wonderful. It's metal, nice and thin. So, okay. And while you're in the directory, have a look at other people's businesses. Okay. I'm going to do a quick, we have like 20, I know I mentioned this yesterday or maybe the day before, but we have 20 new businesses that we're adding or have been added. I'm going to finish up we have a couple categories to add today as well. So, okay. So messages. All right. So the first message they spelled out for me, again, this is coming from the lead team, not just from my spirit guides. Okay. So they said the first message was, there's 5, by the way. The first message is just don't wait. Just don't wait. And I said, I have to have a conversation. I said, well, just don't wait for what? And they said, for Trump to leave. Okay. So what that tells me, and then I said, well, what should we do instead? And they said, live. Okay. So what that tells me is that some of you Some of your energy might be a little stuck, I don't know, in the waiting, in the anticipation of. I know if there's part of me actually that is, I have to say, I can't quite tell if it's that or I am just so into nesting. I mean, I am just like, I don't want to go anywhere. And it's just because I'm enjoying my home so much. I'm enjoying my community. I mean, I'm literally enjoying just right outside my door. It's very interesting, more than ever. And it's kind of mind-boggling to me. Like I'm like, why? Is there something wrong with this? Or so, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm stuck in the waiting. Like there was a part of me probably 6 months ago that was like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I don't feel safe, you know? But I don't think I'm in that energy anymore. It may be astrology. I'll have to look at the reports a little closer for that. But so anyways, there might be some of you who are stuck in that energy of waiting. So if that's the case, remember we've talked about not just waiting. We got to live our lives. We've got to trust in divine timing. They did tell us last month very clearly, July. Okay. And the last message today has to do with that. Okay. So then the next one, the second message for today is love yourself. Okay. This has been another theme for the last couple months, them reminding us about self-care. But the interesting thing is I did say to them, I said, well, why are you saying this? Why are you telling us to love ourselves? It seems to me a little basic. However, after they said this, I thought, you know what? It isn't basic. I don't think we do it. And they said, I said, why are you saying that? And they said, no one focuses on that. No one's focusing on the love for themselves. It's something that we are not very good at, are we? We're usually projecting outward. Yeah, okay, I'm going to talk for myself or the people around me. We're always taking care of everybody else, but how much self-love are you giving to you? That's the question. And that really, I think that's a new paradigm for us. And I think we need to be doing that more and more and more and more and more. It's you first, and that's okay. The old patriarchy, the old way of thinking. I remember, it's been 5 years since I've worked for somebody else, and I worked for someone else for 30 years, different people. And it was always bust your ass, don't take care of yourself. And I was constantly pushing back on that. I don't know if I was just born to do that. I was constantly pushing back on it. I was an early adopter, believe it or not, in my 20s of taking my vacation time that I earned. But my colleagues would, when I first started, would be like, just giving away their vacation time because God forbid they should take vacation because that's the attitude they had. And, and it felt hard for me to be like, you know what? No, I'm not giving up my vacation. I'm taking the time. If I feel sick, I'm taking a sick day. I'm not showing up to work to spread my germs and feel like crap all day. That was very prominent when I was in my 20s and 30s. The expectation, because my bosses would show up on their deathbed. So that gave the message that we should show up on our deathbeds. No. So I've really always been, but it's always been like a battle, Then I would feel guilty, but I was like, no, I'm doing it. And then I noticed my colleagues started doing it. Then they were like, oh, okay. So in this very small environment that I worked in, I was able to at least make some influence over a few people to, just take care of themselves, Anyway, so we really have to put ourselves first. It's not the message we normally get. Put yourself first. And I don't care if that takes a year because you have healing to do or you have, you just need some downtime for yourself or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Love yourself first. And if your most important people in your life are your team, your spirit team, that's perfect. Okay? Because they're working with you. The third message, have fun. They want us to have fun this week, so snip, snap. What are you going to do this week to have a little fun? What are you going to do this week to have a little fun? I got to think about that myself. Okay. All right. The fourth message is, and this gets a little political. I did ask them if they had any, this was after that last two messages, I asked them if they had any political energy messages for the week. And they said, look at the long game. So they want us focused on the long game. And I did ask with the dowsing rods, I was like, do you mean you want us to kind of get out of the weeds? You know, and they said yes. Okay. So if you're new here, I use these to, here I can ask right now. So lead team, and I've already done the prayer, so I'm just going to jump into this. So when you said look at the long game as a message for this week, are you wanting us to stop focusing so much on getting caught in the weeds, the day-to-day details? Yes. Okay. So there's a long game with what's happening in society. Yes. And is it a positive long game? Is it a game where love eventually wins? Yes. Okay. And if we get caught in the weeds too much, is that making it hard for us, one, to have fun? Probably. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I said, why is that helpful this week? That was the question I asked them. Like, why is it helpful this week for us to be looking at the long game? And they said, might happen this month. Might happen this month. And surprise, surprise, I said what? They said Trump leaving. Now notice they said might. Okay. They spelled that out. Might. And that's consistent with what they've been saying. But you know how timelines go. So I think we're getting closer and closer. And if my spiritual sleuthing is correct, I think we should call ourselves spiritual sleuths. Besides bedheads. We haven't called ourselves bedheads for a while. Okay, so if there's any truth to that coming up, then I can see how things are kind of merging together, you know? Okay, and the last message was, good reminder, just leave it to God. Just leave it to God. Good reminder, all of this. So if you I kind of find it interesting, if you just leave it to God regarding this whole situation, because they definitely don't want us just waiting around, okay? If you do that, if you just leave it to God, wouldn't you be able to do these things much better? Wouldn't you be able to focus more on yourself and have some fun? So it's kind of interesting how they all flow together, I think. So if you want to take a picture of these, is that in the right order for you, or is that in the right order for you? So yeah, if you want to take a picture without my schnoz in there, or I'll just... Okay. So let's see. I got to put those in my book. Let's see what they have for us for Earth Wisdom today. Okay. I will say the prayer now because I know people like it when they can hear it. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light. And ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, our community, the lead team collective, so it is only of the highest and purest light. Amen. I was just looking to see if there was a reversal on this. I like this little deck. It's a small deck, Earth Wisdom. I will link it below if anybody wants to support our channel by buying it through our link. It's just we just get a small commission. It's a very small deck. I don't know. It doesn't say how many cards are on here, but I like it. I like it because and it's just different, and the reading on the cards are very brief, so that's just a little different too. Okay, so lead team, what messages do you have for us this coming week? What messages do you have for us this coming week? If you want to join the Spirit Circle, oh, there's one. There you can join, that's the channel membership, and we do on Sundays, if I don't forget to post it, I'm going to do it right after this. We do a weekly blessing, and it includes more messages, different oracle probably, I don't know, we'll see which one they pick, but I do a clearing then for the week too, so you get an energy clearing on Sundays, and an SG hug, which is kind of nice energy going into the week, so join us in there if you're not a member. Just it's a nice way to support. It's a little extra programming. You get a little extra connection with the community. It's a great community. I can't feel any other cards, and it just really supports our channel too. So it's like a little donation to the channel, and you get some programming and some extra benefits. Okay, so you guys, talking to the lead team, is this the card you wanted to read? They were very clear on that one. Yes. Are there any other cards you want me to pull? No. Okay. All right, let's see what they got for the week. Okay. Oh, I think we've had this one. 21, Shadow Treasures. I feel like we've pulled this before. Shadow treasures. Our treasures are in the shadows. It's kind of hard to see. If I can close it without that glare on there. Okay, so 21, it's a 3 card. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you take the 21 and then you do the 2 plus 1. 3. Okay, Shadow Treasures. Black-eyed Susans. So if you see any black-eyed Susans, we usually get them in Wisconsin in August. Provides a light in the darkness while doing shadow work. We definitely got this card before. Okay, golden calcite. So if you have some golden calcite, that's the stone. So I have some, I think, right here. Golden calcite. So if you have some golden calcite around you, maybe hang it out, bring it out for the week. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, so golden calcite shines a gentle, comforting light on hidden treasures. We all have parts of ourselves that we keep hidden away from the world, not knowing that these shadow aspects contain treasures. Shine the light of love in the dark corners of your soul and look with compassion on these neglected qualities. Loving yourself. That's one way to love yourself, is to do a little bit of shadow work, okay? You will find something very necessary to living your soul's purpose. I love that, okay? Shine the light of love in the dark corners of your soul and look with compassion on these neglected qualities. You will find something very necessary to living your soul's purpose. I face my shadows with excitement, knowing there are treasures to be found. I sift carefully through to wreck of my psyche and gently release neglected parts of myself. I carefully sift through to wreck, I don't understand that, to wreck of my psyche and gently release neglected parts of myself. Okay, I get the rest of it, but so funny that I did just mention the Spirit Circle very specifically before reading this, which I mention it every once in a while, but not like that, because we do have a month series, which anytime you join, you can go to the playlist on shadow work, and it's called Sacred Shadows, and we spent a month going through a journal. There's like a booklet that we use. You don't have to use that one. You can just follow along, or you can use it. and you can go through all the videos with me anytime you join. We have that. We've got, so working on some shadow work. In fact, I have another booklet I wouldn't mind doing at some point for myself. It really made a huge difference for me, just a month. And I didn't do any deep dives after that. But we've got another, the Golden Future. You can go through that series. And whenever you join, it doesn't matter. It's not live per se, but it's in there. And so you could go through that, read the book, and follow along with the videos. And what else do we have? Well, we just got done reading Let Your Spirit Guides Speak. Loved it. And now we're starting a deeper dive on a few subjects going forward from that book. And I feel like there was something else we did. What else did we do? I can't quite remember. But anyways, get your golden calcite out for the week. And we've got some good messages for us to be paying attention to. And I'll try to revisit them towards the end of the week, depending on what came up. I mean, last week, the Epstein thing was just like, woo, so it kind of took over. So you just never know what's going to come up, but I'll try to revisit it, the messages, or, if you took a snapshot of those Post-it notes, you could revisit it for yourself, put them in your journal, something like that. So, and then you could revisit them. So, all right, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.